live. Let me see here. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shift Happens. I am so excited, as I am every Tuesday when we are talking here on Shift Happens. I am Karen. We are your host when I'm not here doing the show, helping people, enlighten people on what is possible, what is out there. There's so much good stuff out there. And when I'm not doing that, I'm working with my clients. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist where, for the most part, I help dispel trauma with a particular modality that I use called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is kind of in a nutshell, a way of speeding up neuroplasticity so that we can blast out these false beliefs that have been programmed in us from things that we've experienced that were really challenging. And what better person to have? I am tickled pink besides myself with excitement because my guest today is none other than Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is a stem cell biologist and best-selling author of three of my favorite books, The Biology of Belief, Spontaneous Evolution, which I have right here, and The Honeymoon Effect. He served as associate professor of anatomy in the School of Medicine at the University of Wisconsin. In the medical curriculum, Bruce lectured in cell biology, histology, and embryology. His pioneering research on cloned stem cells presaged today's revolutionary new field of epigenetics. Dr. Lipton later served as a research fellow in the Department of Pathology in Stanford University School of Medicine. Groundbreaking research at Stanford revealed the nature of the biochemical pathways by which the mind, perceptions, and beliefs control behavior and genetic activity. It's so exciting. In addition to being listed in the top 100 of the world's most spiritually influential living people by United Kingdom's Watkins Journal, Bruce received the 2009 prestigious Goi Peace Award in Japan in honor of his scientific contribution to world harmony. Bruce has lectured in 7 of the 8 continents and is still awaiting an invitation from the Penguins to present in Antarctica. Welcome, Dr. Lipton. I am so excited to have you here.
I am so excited to be here with you. You exude so much joy and happiness. I know we're going to amplify a wonderful message to this world. And of course, it's very timely. And what people have to know is that what we're going to be talking about is a scientific foundation to what's going on. So it's not a new agey idea, and yet it is a new age idea. And that's the exciting part, talking about personal empowerment.
Yeah. Oh, so another one of my favorite words. And, and you are actually, I realized because I get your newsletter and I realized that you are going to be in my little hometown in December. You're going to Farum, Denmark, where you're going to be talking about the honeymoon effect. And there's a workshop on thriving in a changing world.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a wonderful country, and the people have such a distinctly more relaxed understanding of life than we find in shoulders up to here world of stress. And you can see what a difference of quality of life, because that's selected as one of the happiest, healthiest countries on the planet. Maybe we could learn something.
That would be wonderful. Yeah. And so, we are going through some really, let's say, interesting, challenging times right now. And this whole, what I love about your work is also it puts the science behind the work that I do. And I quote you all the time when I work with people to really help them understand, because, like you said, it's so empowering that we are not victims. We've been so programmed to believe that we're victims of everything. And so with the epigenetics and how you
Ooh.
were able to find out how our thoughts produce emotions, and that then goes on to uh, change our genetics, right? Or how our genetics show up, right,
Yes.
into disease or not. Yes.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how that's working right now.
Okay. Let's start off with a fact that the movie The Matrix is listed as science fiction, but in truth, it's actually a documentary because the premise is that everybody's programmed. And the fact is, well, that's actually very true. We've all been programmed. And so let's explain very simply the nature of that programming. So we got to know where we're starting from. And the programming is this: we all know the brain is the computer. As a matter of fact, the most fantastic computer that humans have ever experienced in the world and can't even duplicate it in any way. So the relevance about that, I say, well, what is the brain as a computer? I say, well, it is a computer. And you go, so what? I say, little scenario. I go to the store, buy a brand new computer, bring it home, push the start up button, and boom, it boots up. I go, well, that's great. It's working. And I say, now do something, draw, spreadsheet. Oh, I can't do anything. I say, why not? While the system is booted up, it has no programs to operate from. So when you get a brand new computer, the first phase of using that computer is to download programs that you can use. And I say, well, you download those into the hard drive. Okay. And then I say, once the programs are in, then you as the user get to use the keyboard and interface the program. Okay. And everybody, yeah, that's okay, clear. Now I go, a baby's brain has a system booted up in the last trimester of pregnancy. So in the last 3 months of gestation, the brain of the baby is already operating, got the operating system, it's going good. But I said, well, now you got to get programs. I said, well, how do you get programs? Well, you want to put them into the hard drive. Subconscious mind is hard drive. It stores programs. That's its job. So I say, oh, well, how do you do that? I said, well, you have to download the programs. I say, so a baby's got an operating system. How does it download programs? Because the brain, for the first 7 years of life of that child, is operating at a lower vibrational frequency than consciousness. And I mean, this is not new age. This is put electrical wires on a person's head. Read the vibrational aspect of consciousness, and you'll read there's several levels. Delta is sleep. The next theta is a state of mixing the real world. It's imagination. Okay. And then I say, then what? I say, above theta, the next higher vibration is alpha, consciousness, calm consciousness. And another higher vibration is beta, which is work and, high school education and work and all that high level of consciousness. Point. Baby, when it's first 7 years of life, is in theta. It's not consciousness, it's below consciousness. And I say, why is it relevant? Theta is hypnosis in medical terms. If I want to put a program in your subconscious mind, I put you into theta, and whatever I put into your ears is now going straight into the subconscious mind, not conscious mind. Okay. So I say, oh, so the subconscious mind's a hard drive. It's got programs in it. I say, first 7 years is download. I say, how do you download a program? I say, you observe your parents, your siblings, and your community. And I say, for what reason? You're going to have to evolve to be a member of a family and a member of community. And there are rules. There are so many rules. I say, well, okay, give the infant a book. Here, there's a 1,000 rules you need to know. It's like, oh, obviously that's not going to work. Nature handles that by putting the brain into record mode. 7 years, observe the members of the family and how they interact, observe the community and how they interact, understand the rules by what? Just downloading them. I say, are they all good rules? I go, about the largest percentage are disempowering and self-sabotaging and limiting beliefs that we download by observing other people. I say, well, I would recognize that and I wouldn't do that. And I go, when the programs are coming in, there's no consciousness. So it's being downloaded without your awareness, and you've been downloaded starting even before you were born. A mother plays music to the fetus through her abdomen, and she plays a certain music. When the baby is born, if she plays that music, the baby will instantly recognize that music and respond to it. Okay? Father talks to the fetus, when the baby's born, the father opens his mouth, the fetus knows which one the father is from the voice. It learned. So it was learning even before it was born. But the next 7 years is the most intense learning of all, because the next 7 years is, how do I behave to be here? And I say, well, those are programs. They come in, you observe them from other people, you downloaded their behavior, and you didn't filter it. So I said, well, you got a lot of programs before you even conscious. You got a lot of programs how to respond and live in the world. And a very large percentage of them, as I said, are disempowering programs. I go, so what? I say, well, that's the hard drive. But after age 7, you become conscious, and now you can use the programs. Okay. Well, good idea, except for the fact that we now, from neuroscience, the conscious mind, which kicks in at age 7, which is behind your forehead, is actually a creative mind. And that's why humans are different than lower animals. We can see the world, but we can create images. And then once we create images, then we can manifest images. We can say we want to send a rocket to the moon. It only took a few thousand years, but we sent a rocket to the moon. And so that's our creative part. Creative part is wishes and desires. Now, fact, and this is the most important fact people have to know. Science has recognized 95% of the day, your conscious mind is preoccupied with thinking, which is looking inwards. Thinking is inwards, and therefore not looking outwards. And therefore, the subconscious, and this is a fact, so this is the most important fact right now, the subconscious programs you were downloaded with are going to run your behavior and your genetics and your biology based on the programs that you got from other people 95% of the day. So let's stop. Conclusion: 5% of the day you're operating from consciousness, creative wishes and desires of what you want out of your life. And 95% of the day, your behavior is coming from those programs that you got from other people. And you don't see the programs. Why? Because your consciousness, and if consciousness is thinking, it's not looking out. Same story, 35 years now in lectures. So I got to say it again because I remember it. A 35-year-old story is, you have a friend, you know your friend's behavior very well, and you happen to know your friend's parent. I say, so what's the relevance? I say, well, one day you see your friend has the exact same behavior as their parents. So you got to go, hey, Bill, you're just like your dad. I say, back away from Bill. The moment you say that, the first thing Bill will say is, how can you say I'm like my dad? I'm nothing like my dad. I don't know how you can make that comparison. And everyone starts laughing. Why? Because they all have personal familiarity with that same story. And I go, so what? I go, so what is this? Bill is expressing behavior. Whose? His parents. Does Bill see it? No. Where did Bill get it from? He downloaded it in the first 7 years. Those were the programs. Why doesn't Bill see it? Because why is he playing these programs autopilot, subconscious? They could take over and run everything. And I said, why doesn't he see it? And I said, where's his attention? 95% of the time, his attention is thinking inside. So he's not observing. That's why you tell him the truth. You're just like your dad. And then he is, combustion of how can you say that? And the truth is what? Because he couldn't see the 95% of the behavior that was automatic, because the reason he was playing the automatic behavior is because his conscious mind wasn't paying attention. So he doesn't see it. Okay, great story. Big conclusion coming here. I wish I had a drum roll. Drum roll. And the drum roll is simply this: we are all Bill. Every one of us is Bill. Every one of us every day is playing 95% of our programs as our life without our conscious awareness of what we're doing. Now, if the programs are good, hey, no problem. You got a great life. But if there's a problem in the program, then it will be manifesting in your life without you seeing it. And this is why we all of a sudden acquire, I'm a victim. And I say, why? Conscious mind, I want to be healthy, happy, have a great love. But my reality is everything but that. So then I have to say, well, I wanted to be successful. Look at this. And I go, I must be a victim. Why? Because I wanted it to be successful. So something out there is interfering with me. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, you didn't see it. we were sabotaging ourselves all day because the programs that we got do not support the kind of desires and wishes we want to manifest. And so I say, you've been programmed. Everybody's been programmed. I say, how do you know what the program is? I go, well, first problem is this. You were programmed before you were conscious, so you have no idea of what the program was. If you do, then answer this question. You were programmed at 0. You remember that program? Oh no. How about the one at 1 year? A whole year program. And you now know the program at 1 year? No. How about when you were 2 years old? Did you know the program that you got? The answer is no. And I go, so what's relevant? We have no conscious awareness of the subconscious programs. And I go, oh my God, it's a mystery. And then I go, this is resolution. Ready? 95% of your life is coming from subconscious behaviors. Point. The character of your life is the character of your program. The things that you like that come into your life, they come in because you have a program to acknowledge them. But the things that you struggle for, work hard, put a lot of effort. I got to make this happen. I'm working so hard. I go, why are you working so hard? And the answer is, inevitably, the program you were downloaded with doesn't support that destination. And then we blame the world because we cannot see, like Bill, our own participation 95% of the time. And so I'm saying, so what is all this coming to, Corinne? Very simple for me. You ready?
Yep.
Quantum physics, the most valid science on planet Earth. There's no science that has been proven more and more truthful. And I go, so what? And I say, first principle, consciousness is creating our life experiences. This is the first principle of the most valid science on the planet. Like, if you want to argue with the science, don't pick quantum physics to argue with yet, because it's the most valid. And I say, well, consciousness does this. Yeah, consciousness is creating this. And I say, well, where's the problem? Most people then look at their world and go, I wouldn't have created that, so don't say I did it. And I go, until you own it, you cannot change it. If you own you're a victim and you want to stay a victim, you're going to be victim. There's no doubt about that. But if you find yourself a victim and you don't want to be a victim, then don't try and change the outside world. You have to first change whatever program is not allowing you to participate in the way you want. So I said, great. Quantum physics, most valid science, acknowledge consciousness is controlling our life. Now, part two, where I get involved is 50 some years ago, I was cloning stem cells, embryonic cells. And I say, what was the point? And I said, I recognized in my cell cultures 50 some years ago that the environment of the cell determines the genetic activity of the cell. And I say, well, what does that mean? I say, well, at the same time I was seeing this in my research, I was teaching what almost everybody has heard: genes control the character of my life. I go, what kind of thinking does that produce? I go, as far as you know, did you pick the genes you came with? Oh, okay. If you don't like the character, can you change the genes? No. And let me just add this: genes turn on and off by themselves without you being involved. And I go, well, what would be the conclusion of that? And I go, the conclusion that I am a victim of my biology, that my heredity is controlling me beyond my wishes and desires. Oh my God, there's cancer running in the family. I got a cancer gene. I'm going to get a cancer, cardiovascular disease. I go, most important fact, less than 1% of disease is connected to genetics. And we've given all the diseases. What's the genetics of Alzheimer's? What's the genetics of alcoholism? What's the genetics of... It's not genetics, folks. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with programming. And so you say, come on. And I go, let me just help some of you, because there's an interesting time where the movie of The Matrix comes to our reality. And that was the time when they said, here's a blue pill. You take the blue pill and you wake up and life is just the way it's always been. But here's the red pill. You take that red pill and you're going to get out of the program. And I go, most of us have taken that red pill and changed our life so profoundly that it knocked our socks off. And I go, what was that? And I say, Your life could be blah, 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 blah every day. And then you meet someone and you fall in love. In 24 hours, your world changes. In 24 hours, the, the turns into, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Life is so wonderful. The food's great. The music's better. Everything. I'm so in love. I go, you fell in love, and then your life turned to heaven on earth for whatever period of time we call the honeymoon. I go, then what was it? The distinct moment of the switch that sent from blah, 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 24 hours later, heaven on earth. If you understand that switch, then you understand the secret of how you could have heaven on earth every day of your life for as long as you live because you created it. I said, I created the honeymoon? I said, you create everything. That's what quantum physics said. I said, well, then how come I created honeymoon versus blah, blah, blah? And I go, because science has recognized when you fall in love, you stop playing the program. You stop. You start absolutely creating your life from conscious mind, not defaulting to pre-programmed behavior. And I say, and what's the role of the conscious mind? Wishes and desires. I say, the moment you started to use your wishes and desires, conscious mind, to create your life is when you fell in love. And what were you looking at? Oh my God, it could be heaven. I said, it is heaven. And then you made up your whole mission of heaven, and then you enjoyed it, whatever time period it was. And I go, well, how come the honeymoon disappeared? Because most people, it doesn't last that long. Then it turns into regular life again. I go, because when we're in love, science has recognized we stay conscious, called mindful. We keep our conscious mind as the driver, not thinking. We are present by what's going on. I go, so what does that mean? You're not defaulting to the program for the first time. For the first time, you're ignoring the program. I'm out. I took the red pill. It's called love. And now I'm manifesting from red pill. I go, that was always there. That's been there from day one. You just hadn't had access to it. I say, why? Because your programs were designed to disempower you. That's why I said most of the program is self-sabotaging, disempowering, limiting beliefs. A limiting belief, I'm a victim of my genetics. I have cancer genes and I'm going to get cancer. I go, that's a very limiting and self-sabotaging belief. And it's totally false. Why? Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a gene that causes cancer. What? We have cancer genes. I go, they're correlated with cancer, but those genes do not cause cancer. A woman can have the BRCA1 gene. Two women, one could have the gene and get cancer, and the other one could have the gene and never get cancer. We always focus on the one that got the cancer. More important is this other one had the same gene and didn't get the cancer. Exactly. What was different?
Yes.
And the answer is this. The idea of a cancer gene is a program. It's a behavior. That there is no gene that causes cancer. That you can look at the fate of a child adopted into a family where there's cancer running in that family. And you say, here's adopted child comes into the family. I say, what's the fate of that child? And it turns out it has the same probability of getting the family cancer like every other sibling. I go, except the adopted kid has totally different genetics. And what was the point? The cancer wasn't in the genes. The cancer was in the programming, disharmony. Ability to not express yourself because of programming. Don't express yourself. Don't say those. And all of a sudden we bring all that stuff and never let it out. It cooks and boils. And then the point about it was the gene didn't do that. It was a lifestyle not in harmony that did that. And that's why people that have cancer who understand that, stop blaming the cancer cell, because the cancer cell is a symptom of this not being in harmony. And you can kill all the damn cancer cells you want, radiation, chemotherapy, blah, blah, blah. I said, if you don't change this, new cancer will come. Because the idea was it was a behavior that precipitated that. And so the relevance is what? We are manifesting our life with our consciousness, and the programs that we've got have been making us, we're disempowered. Who controls your genes? Well, now we know, guess what? In epigenetics, you control your genes. That's what the new science is all about, the revolution. Genes don't turn on and off by themselves. Genes are blueprints, real. I say, why? Go into an architect's office. She's working on a blueprint. You ask her, is your blueprint on or off? And she'll look at you and go, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There's no on and off. I go, Precisely. A gene is a blueprint. It has no ability to engage itself. If a gene is called up, it's because the contractor asked for the blueprints. I say, contractor? Consciousness is the contractor. And this is what epigenetics is the science of. It says, we've been looking at genes as, these self-controlling devices, self-actualizing. They turn on and off. I go, no, they don't. They are called into play. And I say, who calls them into play? The creative consciousness, which is trying to survive in an environment, reading the environment and understanding how can I survive? What do I need to do? Oh, what I need to do? Program. Okay. And if the programs aren't correct, you can die from the program. Okay. And let's stop for a second. Still new agey. Let's stop the new age for 1 second. And here it is. Have you heard of the placebo effect? I say,
Love
what
the
is that?
placebo effect.
The
Yes.
placebo effect is, here's the brand new pill. I loved it. I'm not going to mention the brand because I used to laugh when I hear it. It's purple. It's purple. Whoa.
Yeah.
Selling it because purple was the real color of healing. It's purple. And you take this pill and you get better and you go, damn, that purple pill was great. And then it turns out purple pill, sugar pill. Then I say, this honestly, tell me then, what healed you, not the sugar pill? Your belief that you were going to be healed. And we say, yeah, we call that the placebo effect. Positive thinking, that's what it is,
Yeah.
generated healing. And then I go, yeah, that's true. And most of you have heard that. Now, here's the other side of the coin you don't talk about. What about negative thinking? Positive thinking, placebo. What about negative thinking? Listen to this fact. Negative thinking is equally powerful as positive thinking, but it works in the opposite direction. Placebo positive thinking can cure you of any disease on this planet because consciousness creates reality. But negative thinking can cause any disease on this planet. You can die of cancer and it has nothing to do with genetics. You died because you had a vision and a belief built into a cancer, a negative fear. Cancer, cancer, cancer. What are you thinking about? Cancer, cancer, cancer. What are you telling your body? Cancer, cancer, cancer. And then you get cancer. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I brought this cancer on myself. I said, well, you didn't know. And I say, why is this? And this is a real critical point, Karin, very critical point. And it goes like this. Okay, let me give you a fact that you don't want to hear. Okay, fact. We are personally responsible for the life that we are experiencing. And this is where people turn off. Why? Well, I could go back in my life and I had cancer or I was abused this way and all these things. I'm a victim of what's going on. I go, you are not a victim for this reason. You had no knowledge. And I go, why is that important? I say, guilt, shame, blame, any of these kinds of words all require previous knowledge and then an alteration of behavior. In other words, here's the behavior, how to be healthy, and I choose to use this behavior over here. I go, that was a choice. But you didn't know that you were choosing one way there because no one told you. So I say, what's the point? Those words that put an onus on the person who is, oh my God, I got cancer. I can't blame myself. I go, you can't blame yourself. You know why? You didn't have any knowledge of it. And I go, every one of those words, blame and all that kind of stuff, is based on you have a previous knowledge and then act in a behavior that is antagonistic to that knowledge. And I said, but what if you have no previous knowledge? I said, then how can you be blamed for what you did? You have no understanding. I said, where'd the understanding that you were operating from coming from now? History of people carrying their beliefs forwards all this time? Changes in who we trust as our truth providers? Because when we are young, one of the biggest programs is you're not a professional, but there are professionals and they know and you don't. So when it comes to truth, you give up yours because they are the professionals and we know by programming they know more. And what have we done? We have given away the power of our life to people we presume to be the ones that know better.
Mm.
And I go, wow, scratch that program. That whole damn thing is wrong.
Yeah.
And the whole damn thing is wrong because epigenetics, the new science of how consciousness and environment control genetics, is in a complete alignment with quantum physics because they both come down to consciousness. Now you have a choice. You can say, wow, that was a strange history based on the consciousness I came in with. And I say, well, now you have a choice. You can keep going into the future with the same consciousness going, wow, it's still happening, still bad.
Yeah.
Or there's a time to say, what does this science mean to me personally? And the answer is this: we are creating this experience collectively.
Mm.
And that if we want to change the experience, we don't have to go out and change the world. We have to change the program, the vision, the imprint that we were given, because that's where we're creating from. If you believe you're a victim, then by definition, you are a victim. If you don't believe what I'm saying, then you're absolutely true and right. I go, what do you mean? I go, Henry Ford said it. If you believe you can, or you believe you can't, you're right. And I said, why is it relevant? Because you can be a skeptic. And I go, great. And you are, well, you'll be very successful. You're going to prove that it doesn't work. And I go, wow. In the case where you're a skeptic about something that could really help and you say it doesn't work, I'm sorry, you just decided it won't work, and it won't, because that's your consciousness.
Yeah.
And Corinne, your work is so important because we have to get people to reflect on, wow, what I'm doing is I'm connected to what I'm doing. Ha! I'm not just the victim in the wind here. And the more of us that understand this, the more we come together in a community of let's co-create a vision collectively that enhances our vitality rather than buying the disruptive, disempowering behaviors that we're being given today. I'll give you a very important, simple fact. Unfortunately, most people don't want to hear it, but it's like we have power in community. When people gather together and voice a community, they have power.
Mm.
But if people are separated from each other and community is broken down, you have no power.
Right.
And
Oof.
I'm looking at the world going crazy, and I also know it's going crazy because uh, it's not sustainable.
Right.
That we know we're facing an extinction of life that is created by human behavior. So I said, well, who are you going to call on to fix this one? The sea turtles? I go, we're the ones that created it.
Yeah.
We are the ones that can uncreate. We're the ones that can generate new. But if you believe you're a victim, then you're in the other group that goes, it's just happening. I go, or you can be in our group and say, you want a great life? Look at your program, change that program, and health and love and harmony will, you don't have to go out the door and find it. It will come to your house.
Mm.
And you don't have to seek and work hard, because the reason we're working hard is our belief system doesn't say that we are in any way powerful. And therefore, we're manifesting our program of disempowered people. And this is very critical at this time.
Yeah.
Boy, how's that for a short answer to that question?
Oh no, this is perfect. This, it just really encompasses everything. I mean, and you have to start from the beginning so that you have the foundation. So
Yes.
yes. And and oh, so yeah, I was listening. I can't remember who it was that they were talking about. May have been Greg Braden, one of your buddies that you travel
Yes.
around the world with, was saying this is the first time in 5,000 years we have a convergence of the it's environmental and a financial, and I can't remember what the third extinction was, or and yeah, so this is all happening right here. So there's so much going on, and
It's a perfect storm, they call it, a perfect storm. It's every, there's a saying, you can't see the forest through the trees.
yep.
The statement means if you focus on the individual trees, you can't see that, geez, you're inside a big forest. Okay. So I say, what are the individual trees? COVID-19, racial violence, religious upheaval, economic downturn, climate change. And I go on, I go, these are all one forest. If you look at any one and say, that's what the problem is, I said, nope, you missed it. Every one of these is a problem because every one of these is a symptom of not living in harmony. And that the destination that nature is saying, well, you got a choice here. You can keep this going, but it's a short trip, or you can change and learn to live in harmony with each other,
Mhm.
as well as learn to live in harmony with this environment.
Yeah.
And that is the offer we have been given. Whether we accept the offer, I'll probably find out around election day how that stands.
Yes, yes, it's going to be interesting. And so when we're talking about, what is not working is essentially in the process of disintegrating, right? And would you say that we already have what is sustainable and what can keep us going? Is that already here and available?
That's the beautiful part. We don't have to create anything new. We just have to stop
Mm,
doing what we've been doing as conventional behavior, and everything is at our. We're here.
yeah.
I mean, if you stop being, showing the video images on the television of death and destruction and fear and all that, I say, well, that's the picture that's activating your program. You are now disempowered even greater because you're looking at it going,
Yeah.
whoa. I go, no, you're a participant.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember hippie days. And back in those hippie days, there was a very important saying that said, before you go out and save the world, take care of your backyard.
Mm,
And this is exactly what the issue is. We all want to go out there and change this stupid upside down thing that's happening. And yet we can't because we are not even in our own place in harmony.
yeah.
First, you have to build harmony around you, and then we can collectively get together and share that harmony, and that's what community is all about.
Mm,
But this is why your work right now, Karin, is so important, because if we don't change the existing consciousness, then by definition we are doomed to keep playing the same destructive game that is now pushing us on the edge. We're on the edge of extinction. And again, we're not talking 100 years. We're talking our kids are going to be in a world that we would never have imagined.
mm,
2048, good date. Put this on your calendar.
mm,
2048, there will be no fish in the ocean.
mm.
And that's conservative. And I say, why? We have overfished. We have been destroying the breeding grounds. We have polluted the water. And therefore, the disappearance of fish isn't the responsibility of the fish, it's us.
Yeah.
And this is what we are undermining the complete ecosystem. And everybody wants to focus on their little symptom. And I have this little symptom, and these people are doing that. And I'm going, you're still looking at the trees, man. You just haven't seen the big picture. And the
Yeah.
big picture is we are committing, suicide for human civilization. We're
Yeah.
killing ourselves. Nothing outside is coming in to kill us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, a lot of that is the programming because all the fear. What's the first when we're in fear and anxiety and fight or flight mode? Then the first system that's hit is our immune system. So right then and there, in yeah, living in prolonged states of stress causes chronic illness.
Absolutely, because stress hormones, by definition, shut down the immune system. Why? Well, the
Mm,
answer was simple. When was this evolution of stress and fear provoked? And I say back when there were saber-toothed tigers. I say, what was important? Well, you could be out having a wonderful time in a field, eating fruit off a tree and whatever the hell is going on, and a saber-toothed tiger shows up. You have to do something different. Growth is what you were doing before. Now the tiger shows up, you have to get him protection. And I say, well, why is this relevant? And this is critical to understanding where we are today. And that is this: growth and protection are mutually exclusive behaviors in a human body. I go, why? I say, well, growth involves the gut, the viscera, all the organs in here. Why? Because they're cleaning and maintaining, fixing the body, giving us energy and doing all that. I say, yeah, but if a saber-toothed tiger is coming, you don't necessarily need these organs. Well, you're not going to hit it on the head with your pancreas or something like that. I say, when the tiger is coming, you have to engage the somatic system, arms and legs, mobility. You got to engage that. I go, okay, engaging anything, whether it's the viscera or the arms and legs, takes energy. I go, absolutely. So where's the energy? In the blood. I say, then what's the problem here? When you're in growth, the blood is going through your viscera and supporting all the functions, which is immune system. Okay. Then I say, the moment that saber-toothed tiger shows up, guess what? I don't need the blood in my gut. I sure as heck need it in my arms and legs. So the stress hormones squeeze the blood vessels shut in the gut to stop the use of energy for maintaining the body, because you got to run like hell now to get away from that tiger. So I want all of the energy in my arms and legs. So things that are high energy, using the things that are not necessary to escape, don't have to be funded when you're running from the tiger. Big one, immune system. Why? It protects you from the inside. But if you're going to be eaten by the tiger on the outside, who cares about the bacteria? It doesn't mean anything anymore. So stress hormones shut down the blood vessels in the gut, which pushes the blood to the arms and legs so I can run. That's what people get, that queasy butterflies in the stomach feeling, is the moment the stress hormones go in there, you can feel the blood vessels are squeezing shut in the gut. You feel it. And blood is not being pushed. And I say, well, an immune system, shut off. Why? You don't need it. And while you're running from the tiger, it's so powerful, because this has to affect everything we're talking about here, is that medical therapies use stress hormones when they're going to transplant a foreign organ into a recipient. They give the recipient stress hormones before putting the organ in. I go, why? Because stress hormones shut down the immune system and will prevent the rejection of the foreign organ. So I'm making an environment that is free of immune system interaction by putting stress hormones. And they go, that's how powerful stress hormones are. They used it to shut down the system intentionally. I go, so what about today? Turn on the news. I go, there's some stress hormones. There's stress hormones dripping in your body 24/7, 365. I said, yeah, but the system that designed the response a million years ago ran away from the stress. What? The saber-toothed tiger. I say, and if you survived 10 minutes, guess what? You're free. So now all of a sudden there's no more stress. So when did we use stress historically? 10-minute bursts of shut it down, all the other functions, because we're going to use all this energy to run. And now we live in a world where running is every day, from the moment you wake up until the moment you go back to bed. I go, you are dripping stress hormones. And I say, what is the result of that? Your immune system is totally compromised. And I go, interesting point about today's flu, which it is that 60% of Americans already have one chronic disease, which compromises the immune system. 40% have two or more chronic diseases. I want to tell you, it's not the virulence of the virus, it's the weakness of the person that is where the problem is coming from. And it's showing us in the US the consequences of stress. Where? Look in the big city areas, look where, there's poverty, and you say, wow, look at all that's going on. That's because the virus didn't get any stronger, they got weaker. And so the statistics truly reveal that this is no more virulent than an annual flu season, except that the people haven't had previous experience, so everybody has to have an experience. Why? Because my immune system only works if I have an experience. And so we think, okay, lock away the population while the flu is happening. And I say, yeah, it did what it was necessary. There was an overwhelm in the hospital when everybody showed up at once. So they locked them away, and it's like, oh, good. Now the hospital is not even servicing anybody anymore. And I go, and then they let everybody out, and boom, the spike shows up. Surprise! You have all these susceptible people in a jar, and you open the lid of the jar. What the heck do you expect to happen? The virus was going to disappear, or they were going to naturally gain immunity by not being exposed to it? It's like, never. Yeah. The spike is only because you just let more people out of the jar. And the reality is, when's the resolution? When everybody gets the damn virus and get it over with. And I say, is everybody going to die? And I go, total false understanding. Yes, you know, I'm one of the old people. Okay, I'm one of those people that are more susceptible to all this stuff. And the simple reality is this: susceptibility is based on how much your immune system is compromised. And what we're seeing is a lethality, not a aggressive virus. We're seeing a lethality because of the stresses on those people. End of life people, of course, have stresses. They're being supported by machines, most of them at that point. They're not working fully, okay? But the stressed out ones that have pre existing chronic illnesses, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, well, you're already open. Why? Because your immune system is chronically working against those issues that life has created. And so, am I afraid of the virus as the old guy that I am? Well, absolutely not. Maybe, I don't see it happening. Oh, Bruce Lipton said he wasn't afraid of the virus, and boom, he's gone. Well, hey, I'm 75. I'm going to go anyway at some point, so I'm not really worried about it. But the reality is, fear compromises your ability to survive in a prolonged state. A 10-minute fear running away from a tiger, that was the design, but it was never designed to be almost a habit of life. And that's where we're all compromised at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that this is the part that worries me is when they're talking about, this vaccine that they're running through and yeah, and what's in
Again,
it.
human hubris. We can do it better than nature. I go, that's a bunch of BS. That means belief system. And the idea about that is simply this: every part of the human system that works cannot be, human mechanisms and technology cannot fully recreate what the human body can do. The human body has an immune system that creates its own antibodies and takes care of it. The idea that we are going to tell the body, this is what I want you to do, and stick a needle inside and throw a bunch of trash inside the body, which confuses the body. I say, why? Because the body has so much intelligence and we bypassed it. And let me just give a hint to what it might be. And it's because most people have no idea what the hell I'm going to talk about. And that is
Uh-huh.
this: of course, we have a natural immune system. We've created immunity for everything for thousands and thousands of years before medical people were here at all. We created immunity. That's how we got here. I say, well, where is that mechanism? And the answer is this. You ready? They're
Right.
called tonsils. Tonsils. I go, what are
Ah,
tonsils? Well, they're in the back of your throat. There's actually three pairs, six tonsils, two above the palate, two at the base of the throat. You can see when you open up your mouth real wide, and two at the base of the tongue. I go, what about them? I say, in the textbooks, they say that they're there for protection.
hmm,
From what? Stuff that comes in through your mouth, your nose, your ears, your eyes. All of it has to go down the throat. So any infective agents that are coming in has to pass down the throat. So they were saying, oh, the tonsils are there to protect you by taking, fighting those things. And it goes, no, the tonsils don't fight infection. The tonsils learn memory, experience. And this is why infants reflexively will stick everything in their environment into their mouth. The system is designed, it's a natural vaccination mechanism with intelligence beyond us. And we say, well, I'm going to put a needle in there and throw this garbage in there. And I sort of like walking down the street, and all of a sudden out of the sky plops this big burning pile of garbage. And where the hell did that come from? Well, guess what? That's what the immune system is. Where the hell did that come from? Why? It has centuries, it has awareness. You violated an intelligence with your thinking. And it turns out vaccines are more problematic in most cases than are useful. And oral vaccines, I'm not saying don't vaccinate. I'm saying utilize the intelligence of the system and create oral vaccines, because that's how the system will read it and learn it. And what are we doing? Cutting out tonsils, going, hey, we don't need those anymore. We don't need these thinking things. I go, you don't even understand what the hell they're doing. They're the learning centers of the immune system.
hmm,
So I'm not against vaccines, but I'm only acknowledging vaccines that are orally introduced to be the kind that the biology's intelligence will be able to understand.
Wow.
Fact. Woo!
That's the first time I've ever heard that about the tonsils and oral vaccinations. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't hurt either, the oral vaccinations.
No, and you can put cherry flavor if you like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bruce, I have a couple of people who wanted me to ask questions of you. And so one of my friends, she was asking, what are our next steps getting back to normalcy after our current situation? Is there anything that we need to see that maybe we aren't?
Yes, what we have to do is number one, recognize, are we powerful or are we victims? If you own victim, then you've given up power. And then I can't, so I'm sorry. If that's what you want to be a victim, that's a choice. Why? Because other people don't have to be victims for the same thing. And they look, a doctor can walk through all the wards of all the sick people day in and day out and not get the illnesses of the patients that they touch. You go, oh, they must be genetically different. I go, no, their consciousness is, I am the doctor. I can't get sick. I am the doctor. That's what I would say every flu season. Why do I need a flu shot? No, I'm not getting a flu. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I'm feeding my system and intelligence. And guess what? Thank God I don't have any of those flu shots because they're part of the problem with COVID. And their cross reactivity is like, and I say, if you violate the intelligence of the system, it's totally incorrect.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that we really have to own that this consciousness is manifesting everything at this point. I didn't even know if I answered the
yeah,
question on that, Karen.
yeah. Yeah, so basically, we have to choose which one we're going to be. Are we going to be empowered, or are we
Yeah.
going to be the victim?
Now, and here's
Mhm.
where there's a problem because this people think, oh, well, I always have these good, happy thoughts. And why the hell aren't they happy? I say, you're having happy thoughts by just the point you said I have thoughts meant you weren't paying attention. You could have all the happy thoughts in the world while all around you, the world's falling apart and you're being, maligned by a world. And you're in your head going, yeah, I got positive thoughts. I go, conscious mind is not controlling. When conscious mind is thinking, it's even less controlling at this point. 95% is coming from the program. So
Mhm.
the idea, I'll put a sticky note on my refrigerator and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna remember that. And I go, that didn't change subconscious. Conscious can learn from the sticky notes because conscious is creative. I could read a book, watch a video, go to a seminar, do whatever. I can learn instantly because that's what conscious mind does. Subconscious learns in a different way. It has habits. And I say, why is it relevant? Well, if you put a habit in, do you want it to just to change any day? I go, no, if a habit's a good habit, I want to keep that habit. Like walking. Oh, I got that habit before 2 years of age. Guess what? Subconscious program. I don't think about walking.
Mhm.
Subconscious good. And then I go, yeah, now I got problems with relationships. And I go, ooh, subconscious bad. not the relationship, subconscious that put me in that relationship is bad. Did I change it by having wishes of everything is going to be okay? And I go, that's a conscious mind. If it doesn't become part of the subconscious program, its 5% activity level is not really going to support what the conscious mind's desires and wishes are. And that's why we could all walk around all day long with, oh, I wish this was more like this. I wish I had that. I wish I had that. And then I go, well, you know what? While you've been thinking of all those wishes, the programs you've been playing had just been sabotaging you because you've been thinking about it. And therefore the behavior was automatically invisible to you.
Yeah,
And since most of them are negative, guess what? You were very helpful and letting your subconscious override while you were thinking wonderful thoughts.
yeah. It's like riding this beautiful Maserati with a foot on the brake, right?
It's these are conflicting belief systems
Mm.
that generate conflict because they're conflicting. Yeah, that's good use of words. But the relevance about it is that they don't provoke harmony.
Mhm.
And without harmony, harmony is health, disharmony is disease. Simple equation, harmony, health, disharmony, disease. Bottom line, that's it.
Yeah. And so coming to this place of creating the honeymoon effect in your, heaven on earth right here
Yes.
in our reality, a lot of that has to do with, like they talk about with the Heart Math Institute, with the heart brain coherence.
Yes. Okay. People heard about heart brain coherence. I say, what does it mean? I go simply this. Imagine a big amphitheater that can hold 20,000 people and a musician on the stage with a guitar, but no amplifier, just a guitar. How many people in that 20,000 seat audience could hear that music? Just a few in a little close proximity because that's how far the sound went. I say the brain's vision is like that performer with instead of playing a guitar, playing a vision. I go, why is it relevant? If it's just coming from the brain, it doesn't go as far. Why? Because the electrical activity fades off very quickly. I say, no. I said, well, what does the heart have to do with it? And I go, the heart is an electromagnetic pump. Boy, when that heart beats, you can read the heartbeat 15 feet away with a
Wow.
device. I could read your heartbeat because it's so powerful an electric field. I go, so what? And I go, when the brain's image is coming from the heart's perspective, your heart is emanating this image. Okay,
Mm.
then the heart, the vibration of the image from the brain, the electronics of it, it's a field, is picked up by the heart field. But that's an amplifier
Mm.
because that will carry that image throughout the 20,000 seats. If I had an amplifier on a guitar, no amplifier on a guitar, 30 seats. Amplifier on a guitar, 20,000 seats. Conscious without heart is unplugged.
Mm.
No amplifier.
Mm.
Consciousness with heart is amplified so that your energy field, quantum physics,
Mm.
which is the energy field shapes matter, your consciousness being an energy field is shaping the physical expression of your world. If
Mm.
you put it with your heart, you amplify the effect of it. Your distance of manifesting a field is much greater than just immediately close by.
Yeah.
And that is the value of amplification of the heart mind connectivity.
Wow. So it's kind of like we're always sending radio signals out, and
We are
that's
doing
that's
that.
our field. Mm.
Yeah, now people don't understand that because when I mentioned earlier vibrations of the brain and consciousness and the different levels, I say you did it with reading what's called electroencephalograph wires connected to the skin, which is like a conductor of the electrical activity of the brain. So it's like, oh, it's inside my head, but I could see my consciousness on the screen. Okay. And I go, but the new device called magnetoencephalograph, MEG, not EEG, electromagnetoencephalograph, reads brain activity in the same way, except the probe is out here. And I say, do you understand immediately from the image of what this means? I'm reading my brain activity out here. What's the point? I'm not keeping consciousness inside my head. I'm broadcasting consciousness. And that broadcasting of consciousness, the consciousness is shaping a field. And Einstein's quote, the field is the sole governing agency of matter. That in quantum physics, it's the energy field that gives character to the physical realm. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, field in quantum physics, invisible energy influencing the physical realm. I go, wow, spirit, invisible energy influencing the physical realm.
Right.
Quantum physics and spirituality are one when you understand that the spiritual understanding didn't provide a technical mechanism, it was a belief issue. But now that belief issue has a technical foundation in quantum physics.
Yeah.
So although the understanding of how it worked was available a long time ago, the understanding of the mechanics of how it worked is only more recent. But guess what? They're still the same. And it basically says a spiritual, okay, you don't want to use spiritual religious content, fine. The field that we're generating is a field that's in disharmony with the world's environmental energy.
Mm.
And we influence that field.
Mm.
And we change, our consciousness changes the electromagnetic activity of the entire planet because Princeton, they have these observing the energy fields of the planet satellites
Mm.
that are reading the energy field of the planet. And when a big human experience happens, like 911,
Mm.
there's a radical shift in the electromagnetic field of the entire Earth. not a coincidence or accident, linked to an event. And I go, well, how can that be linked to an event? The answer is because of the consciousness of the people all of a sudden coherently looking at the same event, or tuning forks that are broadcasting. Everyone's now broadcasting the same thing. I
Mm,
go, oh, amplification,
right,
power. The
right.
more the tuning forks are aligned, the more powerful the thoughts of a community are than the thoughts of an individual. And that's why we're facing an undoing of an existing community, which has been disruptive, with the idea is we have an opportunity to create a better version of community and harmony. And all of a sudden, heaven on earth is not an individual experience. Heaven on earth will be a global experience because we'd all be able to use our consciousness to manifest these wonderful wishes and desires.
And in reality, if we were just to get that concept and implement it right here today, everybody who
Instant,
listened,
instant change, instant. And a beautiful part is science has revealed that we don't need masses and masses of people to make this convergence,
mm,
because it revealed from the studies of transcendental meditation research where groups of people focused on reducing a crime and then the crime disappeared with their collective number. They started to figure out, well, what number of people can influence the planet? And I think it's the square root of 1% of the planet's population, which all of a sudden says, okay, that's a good sized number, but it's not like, oh my God, everybody has to have the same thought. It's like, nope, small percent, coherent. Uh, when all those small percent, their vibrating tuning forks are in harmony,
yeah,
the power of a coherent force
mm,
is enough to influence all the non-coherent forces at the same time,
yeah.
because they're not going anywhere, but one group of coherence manifests an expression of that will, propagate.
And that is totally doable if it isn't being
100%.
done already, right?
Exactly. And it's, I know we're running out of time, but I want to add one thing.
Yeah.
Life is based on energy. Energy is life. You got energy, you got life. Got no energy, you don't got life. And I say, well, how do you use your energy? And I go, well, if you use your energy to support yourself, that was what the mechanism was for. I said, but what if you just throw out energy and waste it? And I go, well, then you just, you're compromising your life. I go, if I give you a checkbook, and the money in the account is how your life is going, you don't write stupid checks. Oh, here's a check for you because you got a nice pair of shoes. Huh? We'll give away the money because of whims like that. And I go, well, you're not going to survive. Then I go, energy is a commodity like money in our body. And if I gave you an energy checkbook and said, every time you use your energy, you have to write this check. And you start to look at the checks you're writing. And the first thing you're going to have to understand is this. If it was money, you put out money because you're getting something back or you're going to make more than you even put out. But you don't put out money with knowing that it's not coming back anymore and it's useless. It didn't help you, didn't help anybody. That's waste. If we look at the energy and how we use it in our world today, I'm going to give very important just an A or B. If I look at the world and go, oh my God, it's falling apart and it's crazy, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take my gloves off and I'm going to go in there and fight that system and I'm going to make it better. And I go, I wish I could show it to you right now. I have a video, just show two electrodes coming together. And when positive and negative, they come together, they spark, they fire, they melt, and they're gone. Why? Two opposing energies cancel each other out. So I say, we're in a world that's upside down and crazy. I have a choice. I can go in that world, pull out my sleeves and go, okay, let's fight. And I'm going to say, that's my electrode, their world, boom, nothing. Nobody got anything. I wasted my energy. Or, and this is what we're all supposed to understand, rather than going into the system and fighting it to fix it, we take our energy out of the system and put it over here and build a more sustainable one. Okay, I think Buckminster Fuller said that, or one of the leading futurists said that don't put your money into the struggle. Don't put your energy in there.
Yeah.
Put it into something that we're building, not one that's coming down. And
Mm,
so if we stop focusing on what's coming down and start putting out, what can we do?
yeah.
What do we need to do to make this place better? Not how do I hide in a room and hide from that thing? Then we have a chance to move on. But we're so
Yes.
focused on the accident that is happening, and we're so, horrified and focusing on it. It's like, did that help you? Did
It
that
does.
use of energy in any way facilitate your health or change the planet? And I go, no, you wasted the energy. I go, that's the check that you wrote that you threw away. And I'm going, your energy is too valuable to throw away, because life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. We see it every now and then in between the stress.
Yeah.
There's a moment where all of a sudden it opens up and go, oh, it's beautiful out there. And then go right back into the stress again. It's like, so what? And I say, why don't you live out here? It's much more beautiful.
It is. It truly is. And so, Bruce, oh my gosh. So, let me just summarize some of my takeaways that we could do because, again, I like when we have something tangible that we can take. So turn off the news, right? That's what I usually say. Don't get hypnotized by it. Start focusing on creating harmony, creating what it is that you want because we're co creators of
Yes,
life. Yes. And then begin to start sending those frequencies out into the world. And then if we can get a group together, a small group, 1% of the population, uh,
square root of,
square
square
root
root.
of,
Yeah,
then we
we
can,
can change the world. That's the
yeah,
only way the world changes. If I go out in the street right now and say, look, heaven on earth, let's have it right now. And I'm the only one out there, it's like, well, there's no chance of that happening. But if we get a large enough population out there, their collective energy and their collective creativity can radically change the world. And that's the only way it ever changed. It didn't change by edict of some leading person and said, okay, I want the world to change, everything change. It changes because people banded together to say, let's create something different than what
mm,
we have. And this is what we're being called on right now. I can continue to create in the existing world, but it doesn't serve me, and it sure as hell doesn't serve the planet. And so I don't.
And this is why we have Shift Happens. And thank you so much, Bruce, for the work that you do, that you are constantly, tirelessly going out around the globe and talking to everybody about to enlighten and give not just hope, but empower people. And it's so
That's the point.
powerful. Yes,
That's the point.
absolutely.
That's
And
it. That's it.
yeah, yes. So thank you for being on here and talking with me today, talking with our audience. Have a fabulous rest of your day and say hi to my peeps in Denmark.
Yes, I surely will. I look forward to that. Except it's cold,
I
and
know.
I'm a warm weather kind of guy. So,
Yeah,
but to go talk to them, it'll warm me up.
there you go. It'll be Christmas, so they'll have Glück and Eberskewer. So that's wonderful.
This guy, I'm not going there. I'm too busy having a good life. I don't have time for that flu stuff.
uh, all right. Well, take care.